we can sit there in the end and claim the victory. Nope, there's a whole hell of a lot of things leading into it. Game number 1 of the day starting as we speak. It's going to be one of 20 games left to play before we'll see which 12 teams will be making it to Berlin and which 4 will have to sit around for a little while longer until phase 3 does begin. Now, for AK, I was going to say they had a period of Montenuevo last week, and as good as Montenuevo is of a place to loot, they didn't seem to have the greatest success in going there. And now it seems like they've opted to go back up north to where they've been before. So 4AK back in La Copraria could be the smarter choice to make for them.
Where's Avangar going in all of this?
Northeast.
There we go, I see him.
Yeah.
I got mixed up in
all the
looking
red
at the
logos
Winside. Yeah, it's like everyone's just clustered together in it.
Yeah.
But no, they will be found. You've also got PG18 going off all the way over towards El Azahar if they can. We're going to see Zen. They'll take the normal spot as well. Obviously, the thing for Zen is they've always had these southern spots they fight from.
Yeah.
And they can change it up based on whatever they need here. But it's not exactly like we're getting the performances we expect from them time and time again here.
And that's the thing. I mean, for me, at least, Zoekt Een Naam has been a team that has done extremely well on Miramar here in the finals, but it's been their Wrangle games, of all things, that has actually been kind of lacking behind. We saw it yesterday, too. Sure, they got themselves 2 fourth places, but that was pretty much all they amounted to. And if you don't get their kills with it, then that's not going to give you a whole lot in the end. Now, the circle does go north. We've been north a couple of times already, but we haven't been this far up at that much. So maybe a bit of a change of scenery for some of these players. And, of course, looking down south, there's going to be some decision-making in teams like Zoekt Een Naam for Se7en, for Gamerlegion. How do you go about this one? Do we try and crawl it all the way west? Or do we just follow along with all the other guys as they make their way up from the south?
Yeah, we talk about a lot of the difficult rotations that can be had here. For a lot of these teams, it's now familiar territory to fight between, but it's your aggressive teams that are going to be interested to see where they go from here.
And one of the big difference makers here is going to be No-Tag, Besiktas, and We Need a Home, essentially. If they don't decide to go center, if they don't push early, and who knows, maybe Besiktas wants to sit around and try and see if they can claim some rotation kills, that's going to force the teams that are coming from outside to play it even slower than they might actually would have wanted to. So a lot of layer caking in the making here, as all these teams are trying to find somewhere in this center, because the center does not have a whole lot of compounds. Normally you have either a city somewhere around there or anything of the sort that you can fit in a few more teams, but here there's really not a whole lot other than hills.
Now, I've got Quickmath on the screens at the moment there, and yesterday more aggression was coming out from them. Didn't get the results they wanted at all. It's a different style of play that comes out from. We spoke about them being the passive team up on Severny. This time around, the circle's got popping close to them, but they've got Riddle, We Need a Home, and Tornado all close by. So do they want to try and take these fights here? Are they still going to take that approach on Miramar? It's going to be the interesting one for this opening game to see which style they're going to have. And also, if they keep flip-flopping on the styles, right? Sometimes doing it, sometimes not. Where are they even feeling their own consistency?
And the thing is, normally you'd say, oh, if we wait, that means we're passive. But honestly, here, if they sit around and wait, that could be them being forced into fights early that they might not want to have. I mean, if they're trying to leave San Martin late and a team like Gamerlegion comes driving in the same time, that could be them taking engagement way earlier than we would normally see Quickmath start their fights, right? So for Quickmath, for sure, a team as well that are sitting in the pile, kind of in the middle of all these opponents. You see Tuho already in his vehicle. He's going to start rotating. I would assume now, try and see if he can get around Riddle. They kind of know where they loot. I would assume Riddle hasn't changed up too many things in their looting over the course of the finals and the Miramar games here. So if they've done their prep work correctly, you would assume that Quickmath has a good hunch of where Riddle are kind of playing from. Zoekt Een Naam here on your screens as well. Talked about them just before, how they've been getting better and better on Miramar, and not falling off on their angle, but clearly not been able to put up the numbers that we've seen them do before. So it could be a good day for them to rack up some Miramar points and then come into tomorrow and hopefully get things turned around on their angle too. They are one of those teams that they never shy away from aggressing. Like if they see a fight and they feel like they have a chance to take it, they will go active no matter when in the game it is. But of course you want to play it smart. And Denethor wanted to break a fence here, but that's not going to happen. Clip spots him out. Denethor caught by himself. Handy around the corner gets headshotted. Denethor, what the hell are you doing? He gets the bow! Wow!
On 16 health, he manages to take both of them. Great awareness from Donator there. He spots it out, gets the first one, but the second one should have never been the one he was able to achieve. But he took the fight directly to him. The rest of the Winside players now getting closer to him, and they're ensuring that nothing will happen to him from here. But Riddle, losing 2 players this early on, in a 2v1 is never something that should be happening. Solid stuff here from Winside.
Exactly. You just put the head on the nail there. That should never have happened. There were 2 guys. They know they tagged him down, and I understand Hanny and wanting to get around the corner and finishing. Maybe he was healing. Maybe he was reloading, something like that. But when you peek that angle, especially because you have a guy that's just 1 meter away from being able to double peek it with you, cool it down, play it smart, calm, collected. Looks, he just died.
I'm guessing he might have lagged out.
I was going to say there must have been a reason for that happening.
Yeah.
But
they're not out either. That was just.
That was just
misinformation.
Lux taking a defeat.
We're having quite an interesting start to this one. Not only to the whole show in general, but just seeing that happen for Winside going up against Riddle. That's just wild on its own. Besiktas not having the best time losing a player early on in a game that is important. We spoke about it before, and admittedly hasn't showed as much. Nail up here. Trying to do some damage, but don't get overconfident with it. Dee's going to pick up the kill. Jupzig will go down, so they spray down the car. But they took some shots from Winside there, which means Winside well aware of their position, and they're continuing to take some shots towards them.
Yeah.
You make that noise, and Winside, they're obviously feeling very good right now off the back of those early 2 kills.
I think Dennis always has confused as anything. He tried to leave the compound when he heard the guys roll up on it, and then I guess because the Mirado didn't really feel like breaking the fence there, he had to say, oh no guys, I have to take a fight here, I'm probably going to go down. And out of nowhere, he pulls off a pretty, I mean, gotta give it to him, really, really well executed 1v2. He was even pre-firing the angles, both of them, like both the times. It was like the same engagement happening twice with really short notice. And despite him taking a lot of damage early, he managed to take down both the Riddle players. And for Riddle, I mean, they have got to be annoyed with that. Mason now as well. Quickmath, all these teams trying to find some compounds, find somewhere to lay low. We know it's compound heavy, compound terrain that you want to play from at least early on in these type of circles. But also you need to find, as Mies is doing right now, find somewhere to park those vehicles where you won't be losing them. Because if you have to start running this early on in the game and the circle starts doing what we've seen so many times before with all those hard shifts, you really do need those vehicles to be intact. So rotating close to opposing compounds, rotating blindly into compounds, and even more importantly, once you do find one, make sure that those vehicles are parked safely, because you will need them later.
In terms of where we're seeing these rotations, right? So Besiktas and Zen avoided each other. That was something I was worried about coming down from the south side if they go across, but they've opted for different locations for it. Besiktas is going to go further up north. And guess where they're heading towards again? It's like a big meme at this point, towards players in Avangar. We'll see if they fight it off. It may happen, it may not. Gamerlegion going to be working their way in here, as you can see just now, but they're going to be hot on the heels of 4AK. We've got quite a nice setup on that 2-2 split with 2 players up on the hill.
See Gamerlegion, yep, making their way on up the mountainside. We have, well, we've had our eyes on them for a little while now. They had an interesting way in the group stages of making it in. They did make it in pretty well done in that regard as well. And now they're sitting in a solid position here in the finals, trying to, of course, get some more wins underneath their belt for the finals.
And especially off the back of yesterday, right, which didn't go like amazing for them to start things off with. Then they pull out that win. You're like, okay, cool. Look, you can still get the job done.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're all the way at the top at the moment. Yes, you're pretty damn comfortable. But I mean, there is a thing where you have to still hold on throughout all these games. Like you said, 20 games still remain, including this one.
Yeah. There's still a lot more games to be played. And no matter how hard you might get 1 or 2 of them, you really need to be able to bounce back and play the next one. You see it right here, Simpson vehicle park, but that's going to be a vehicle they don't want to use, and you do not want to sit 2 guys in a car, especially with circles hard shifting like we just see here.
And another thing is when it is literally just you 2 left as well. This is not the ideal rotation for them, but maybe they'll just be able to cruise on by with everyone else as they start to make their rotations. And because of the hard shift, literally everyone has decided, yes, okay, it's time to move. It's teams like 4AK, though, and Avangar who will now try and capture as many opposition in their sights to take down on this rotation, because there'll be so many teams coming towards them.
You can see it here. I mean, the way that they're split off right now, they're sitting well in positions in their little foxholes, trying to do some damage towards those moving vehicles. But once everyone kind of gets settled in between them, that's going to be where it becomes difficult for a team like Avangar. They need to get, if not together, then at least closer to one another, because later on in the game, I'm not seeing them finding each other if there's enough teams in between them.
Now, PGA team, the style I like to see from them is where they just taking all the fights to the teams, keeping it as a whole unit. They weren't looking to split it up. I want to see what they can do this time around here on Miramar as well, if they can keep things going, because continue to talk about them, just a team that they weren't in phase 1, we didn't see them, and now we get to see all this impressive stuff coming out, and they're really showing themselves as like, hey, look, we are grinding, we are practicing hardcore, we deserve to be here, and actually, we're going to take down some of the bigger names that you may have heard about many times ago.
Exactly. There's nothing is set in stone in regards to PUBG. There will always be teams that will come out of nowhere and surprise you. Of course, the players on PG are all individually pretty well known to the community, but as a team, they sure have delivered. That's true.
And just the whole storyline with it, right? Having to change a player even to be able to compete in this.
For sure.
As this is not the start that Gamerlegion would have wanted. They've started to rotate their way in, and they've run straight into We Need a Home. The fight is still going on. Hopefully we can get over to it, because they are taking a battle regardless still. We Need a Home currently don't want to be having themselves any opportunity to take these kills and waste it away, right? They want to get involved in these fights, being so far behind. They're our 16th place team at the moment.
Yeah, We Need a Home and Gamerlegion on top of each other.
Ooh.
Crazy vehicles being put into use. Riddle trying to run over Bjorn, but he ain't gonna have none of it. Now PG trying to shoot in from another side. There's a lot of things going on our screens right now. Bjorn getting taken down eventually. Hamster does go down as well. And I believe only one player left alive on the team now. We see No Tag trying to hold off Zoekt Een Naam, but no one's anywhere near there. Vasco is going to be able to disengage up the hill. Lipson is going to find Hamster. And yeah, that was an unfortunate one. I'm sure the whole skirmish of things were pretty interesting. And Macken is going to be the last player we see move in the shack. Not a whole lot he can do from that position. He's going to be locked down with, well, I mean, with a lot of teams knowing of his whereabouts, and that should most likely be him down and out sometime soon. But we'll see. We'll see how hard Tornado Energy commits to getting this finish off. I guess you can see it's not having a whole hell of a good time.
That Tornado, they did end up taking our final game yesterday. Now they're going to continue to take lots of shots onto everyone left for Gamerlegion here. They've had a rough time. Macan just chilling, hoping that he might be able to escape, but there's no way he can go. Circle shifts again, and we've gone from north all the way down towards this eastern side. It's benefited teams like Winside, PG18, and Zen quite well, though.
Yeah, we're moving down towards Cruz del Val, and it's not an area that we see a lot of games end, so it's always interesting when we get a bit of a bit of a new terrain to work with, as far as both from a viewing perspective, but also for the players to get some finish offs. Maybe get to know these areas that they don't go to very often a little better. Then it's only gets taken down. All these guys are trying to rotate in towards that new circle. It's going to close in 30 seconds as well. Besiktas, having lost Lux early on, have now found themselves an opponent in Se7en Esports trying to hold them off here.
And that's what it's going to be about now, right? Holding these teams coming through, making sure that you can hold on to the ground you have, because there'll be not a lot of it left when it comes down to this one. Different style, though, from what we saw on a Wrangle. Still 55 players up and running as we hit the 13-minute mark.
Wrangle was all crazy. There was nothing but crazy on the Wrangle yesterday. It's pretty interesting game to have.
Every circle was unique. We got one nice, well, nice-ish circle at the very end, and then everything else was just craziness defined on craziness some more.
We had a game where in phase 5 we had like 11 players up. That's pretty. That's pretty unique, I guess you can say. Se7en Esports still on the other side of the road. 4AK here on the screens too, trying to well, maybe to pinpoint what's happening with the guys that are on the further edge of the circle. You see Avangar, which is the eastern Torahumata. I've got a place to play from, but now Riddle getting spotted out. Macken gets down one. They split up in the vehicles. Simpson jumped out before, and that's going to force these guys into a 1v1 fight.
McCann needs to heal himself up, though, because Zinzan full health, just over the rock. He is going to get it done, but this nade coming out. Ooh, did he throw the nade? No, he went. He brought it out like he was going to throw it. Now he's taking shots from other places, and okay, the nade did go out.
He did throw a nade.
I thought the nade did go out. I was so confused.
That was interesting.
But that's Gamerlegion going to be our first team out of this one.
It's going to be an unfortunate start to the game, of course. They were sitting well in it so far, and we complimented them for their games on well, honestly, on both Wrangle and Miramar over the last couple of couple of days. So unfortunate way to start off the day here. But of course, 2 more games to go on the day, and they'll look to bounce back immediately in the next one.
And that's what it's all about, bouncing back. That's what they did do yesterday as well. They had a 14th place off their first game, and then things quickly turned around for them. Northern Lights, though. Quizzy, one of our key kill players coming out here across the entirety of Contenders Phase 2 so far.
Yeah, he has been on point, whether it being up close, flanking in their faces, or from a distance. I mean, he has been all over the place, and he's been delivering for his team, and it's been clear that whenever he's been one of the players to go down early, that's honestly when Northern Lights have been struggling. And now, from one hard shift, well, I mean, that's followed with another. Northern Lights going to be all kinds of happy with this shift, but how are they going to find a place to play from? That's going to be the tricky part.
Yeah, they're being shot at the moment by Desperados and no tag team. We've got Zen close by as well. Zinzan's probably sat there and thought, this couldn't be any worse for me. I was just inside the circle. I'm trying to just creep my way in as a solo player. But no, now I've got a long road ahead of me.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. And for Northern Lights as well, they're sitting well in it right now. But once these teams start pressuring them from the west, you can see how exposed they are already. Quiz's vehicle is not parked for him to really have any cover from that direction. And Moonwolf and other teams will be looking to get into the circle from their Besiktas. And Quickmath making their... well, I mean, interesting pushes on through here. They're going to be running face-to-face. Winside in the middle of things. Going to be shots fired all over the place.
Yeah, this is going to be the hold that needs to come in very strong. But the Nator's gone down already. The Boom's looking around thinking, okay, how can we try and make this work now? Because they're being pushed by Besiktas. You've got 2 players close by. Moon's got the high ground. The nades are going up from Gifted Rue, but it's just going to go too far. Besiktas already pushed up and close on this compound. And on top of this, it's not just the fight that's right in front of you. It's all the other teams that are close by as well. Zinzan, he is finally found. 4AK take him down, and that'll be Riddle out in 15th.
And important for 4AK to get the kill too, because that's the team they have to beat now in making their way further up the list. Kravik nades all over the place, and that's going to be Quickmath finished on off there. 7 secure themselves quite a few points off of it. They were all pinned into one building, and with enough nades, they blew it all up and secured themselves the points needed to, well, I mean, at least to make a bit of a run further and maybe start spreading out a bit and take some more control.
D's looking to take some shots here as PG18 are also going to be taking a fight with Besiktas just a little bit further down, which actually benefits some of the other teams that were taking the fight, especially in Winside, because it was not easy for them to hold on to. They lost some players earlier.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You have the whole city, then you have the southern side that's just stale, and then you have the whole north. It's like just people running around all over the place, or driving around, I guess you should say. We're like, where is our entry point to this circle? There is nowhere that we can come from where there is any room at all. It's not going to be easy for, well, I mean, you got 4AK, you got 1 Avangar player, and you got We Need a Home on the edge up there too.
Now, Winside's aggression is not going to stop anytime soon. They've now found 7 and actually managed to take down Buster, so that's a good pickup for them. They've got 3 players left in it. Avangar close by would have been hearing everything that's been going on.
And they need to play it like this. I mean, they can't postpone those fights until later, because eventually that circle is going to include some sort of the city, and if they're in, well, I mean, that's all good fun. But if they're not, they have to push through those teams. So if you can start hurting them now, that's going to make that eventual push a lot more doable.
Kravik trying to land those shots onto Lipsin. Very scary to see Rip9 as well. Oh, he lands it. The quick headshots coming in. Now if he can find Lipsin, this would be huge. They've got 4 kills already. Kravik may be on his own, but Frank isn't too far away. Nade goes out towards Lipsin, but not a lot of damage done. They know exactly where he is, and there's no backup coming in for Lipsin just yet. Now the 7 players have started to work their way around. The Nade's going to go out towards Rip9. He's not escaping anytime soon. He sees it. He knows what is going on, and he goes down.
I wish you could use emotes when you were knocked, like, oh, I'm just going to, you know what, I'm
facepalm.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to run for this anymore. So Lipson's been heavily naded down, still able to heal up. They're not pushing on him just yet. He is on his own, and I think they should be aware that there is no one else nearby, because Kravik was there. He saw the rotations come in.
That's true. He saw them all come in. He's the last remaining player, Lipson, so they should be aware of it. But of course, Northwest and other players, they're I guess potentially with a chance of making those pushes in the same directions. And Kravik, they got to be able to hear that too. You see 7 on your screens here. They have a chance to push it in. They know there's only 1 player now. They're committing to it. But how can they execute it? Can they execute it well enough to not lose a single player in doing so?
And Lipson's just going to try and run away, but it's not going to work out. Kravik gets it done, and We Need a Home out in 13th place. So ultimately here for 7, this is much better from them. Fighting a bit earlier than normal. in terms of what this new star we'd seen come out from them. But this has worked out in kills already, and we've not even got in further towards the top 8.
Once we start excluding some of these edge teams and throw everyone into the city. Well, I mean, I know James, you like city endings. This, of course, not being a city that we normally see teams to go to. But I guess a city ending is a city ending nonetheless. A lot of teams are scrammed together on the top, and here comes PG. Full speed forward on their vehicles. Going to be able to take out Washout, but they ain't safe just yet. Yannick, he's going to go down. He's not going to be able to make it in. And Octave secures the kill. And there's no way in hell these shootings are done just yet. 360 knocking yourself in the air. The East goes down. Nemrith out to Nailop now, the last remaining player. And somehow he has found, well, I mean, some sort of safety in the building he just went into.
A huge risk there for PG-18 to just get a couple of kills, and then they found themselves out in the open and also running away from the zone, and the zone is doing a lot of damage in this phase. They could not afford to tank it up anymore, and now they'll pay the price for it. Only Nail Up remains, but Moonwolf, one of our key teams, one of the teams to point out, they're going out quite early on here in 12th.
Yeah, they were getting things going last week, and now, unfortunately, off to a rough start here in day number 2 of the second to last week overall. We just got one more week left after this, James. Time's going by.
Oh, yes, it's rapidly moving on forward here for phase 2.
I'm actually interested no one's playing the church. I guess it's a part of A, getting up there now without anyone spotting you, and B, getting away from there in case you do have to leave. But it's a good high ground position that you can play from. Not being taken into use by anyone yet.
Maybe they were being respectful. They know how horrible it is to shoot in a church.
Oh, yeah, that is true. So Crizzy, he's going to go down. That's going to be Northern Lights out in 11th place. So they're going to fall short of placement points. They might be able to stay in the top, but we'll have to wait and see, of course, once we get those leaderboards thrown on our way after this game is over. Avangar, despite only being 2 guys in the area here, they're going to do everything they can to clear the building. Nothing's taken for granted. They've been here 4 guys together for a while, but every time you go into a new house, there's a chance that a snake is lurking.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be in the back of their minds when maneuvering here. The Boom finds a nade go out towards him. There's another nade coming very soon, and luckily, Simsy's not able to get it perfectly lined up. Winside will be able to hold on to what they've got for now. They're going to get the res in, but Besiktas, they don't want to push on this just yet. They're just going to continue to try and use the utility. Moon takes some damage the moment he pops up in the window. More nades going to be thrown out, but they're not able to get the kills in here. So at least for Winside, they can take this fight, but they need to get themselves fully prepared.
And that's the benefit of it. Look at this. Terminal goes out to peek it, and Simsy's immediately there to cover him. I like this. Don't just send a guy out in the open and throw nades forward. You got to be able to cover your teammate if you want to try to make aggressive plays like that. So great communication from Simsy and Terminal to execute a play that, well, unfortunately, didn't really give them the result they were hoping for.
I'm scared for a lot of teams, though, when we've actually still got 4 members of Avangar up alive at the moment.
We also have 32 players alive in this circle. I mean, that's where we saw like 10 players alive yesterday, right?
Lots of hiding spots still in it right now for these teams. PG-18 just has Nail Up going. He's going to be the solo player. But everyone else is really healthy, basically. It's only no tag team with 2. Everyone else has got 3+, which is just crazy to think about.
Zoekt Een Naam pushed it down to the church we talked about just before, and Desperados saw the time to go up and snug away their spot. But 4AK now making their way up the hill to try and do the exact same thing, and Coldamenta is going to go down immediately. That nade is right on the feet of Talsera, and he's going to go down as well.
4AK looking to push on into this. They found the first 2 knocks come in, and sadly for Desperado, the remaining 2 players they have are just a little bit further away. Calvin Klein takes a lot of damage out elsewhere, and they're just going to be picked apart by everyone. 4AK on the cleanup duty, and this southern side is now under their control.
Very, very well held off by them. Again, we keep talking about these kind of things, but when they can get full kills in there without losing a single player, that is extremely important. And, well, I mean, 9 out of 10 times extremely hard to do. So, well done by them through the nades where they had to, got the kills in there. Hit those targets when they saw them and cleaned themselves up. I mean, that's the thing. When you can have a team that's sitting down in 15th place right now overall, take out a team that's up in the top like that. I mean, we talk about trying to predict things. How do you do that when stuff like that happens?
Yeah, not easy to predict at all. And it's crazy, right? Because we speak about, obviously, the multiple areas these teams can fight on. We've got 7 Besiktas Winside, all so close to each other, literally just on standoff duty right now. Zen's looking at it all from the church. Like you said, they've got the high ground there. 4 AK down the south, chilling on their own at the moment, but just trying to take some pop shots where they can. Because for now, they're just like, okay, how do we make this space? And Zen is the one that's blocking that space for them.
Exactly, especially with this circle shifting. I mean, 4 AK pretty much only has one place to go, and that's straight down that hill. They do have a buggy and a Mirado we saw on the edge of the screen there that they could potentially try and get to and just send it full speed forward, but that's of course going to come at a risk of them being taken out before they get a chance to shoot back. Maxisol hits a headshot on towards Gifted. There must have been a level 3 helmet in play there in order for him to stay alive, but that looked beastly.
That was a shot and a half. Maxisol expected it. He was looking for it, and he did get the job done. Zen, though, they're going to find Ivor getting knocked down, which should enable 4AK to try and push and take some more footing here in this little battle.
Both Ivor and Page just got knocked, and that's going to allow, I mean, that's going to force pretty much 4AK to send it forward. They know, hey, they got 2 players down. They have to spend the time resting. This is going to be our time gap to make the full speed on forward. And now, I mean, now if they're fast enough, they can get an engagement in before neither Page or Ivor gets to get their boosters off.
Kavoki up close, being cautious and rightly so. Instantly, T-Bone finds him, though he wasn't ready for it, and he is going to get finished off straight into it. Nixie's able to reply onto Vansku, but T-Bone, he's trying to hold strong there, spraying it out, but lots of damage coming his way, and he does not have a lot of health to work with now. The rest of Zen need to back him up. Ivor's looking to get himself healed up as well, and Vansku's just trying to avoid being flushed.
You see, it's just Northwest left alive now. 4AK in for such a rough run here. Trying to get the heal up. It's not going to be easy. Nate's thrown on his feet. That could potentially be Nixie's taken out. Nope, not completely. Northwest is going to commit to it as well, so they back up to 2.
Avangar as well. You can see down on the mini screen. Going up against Tornado. Lost on active straight away. Zen still looking to try and find these remaining 4 AK players that are close by. A lot of spaces where you can just sit behind, right?
Yeah.
In church. And yes, you might have an idea of where they are, but it provides a lot of good cover here.
It's also a difficult building to push through. So as soon as Havoki trying to get in there, immediate off angle set. This Zoekt Een Naam team could use it now. And all three, you see him spotting on through, trying to get the angle. Avangar in the meantime go down and out. Multiple teams were engaging on him. And Page is going to be the one to take up Maxisol and finish off the team in 9th place. So despite all the efforts they've put in, 27 minutes into the game, they fall just 1 placement short of placement points.
On Tornado now taking shots at Zen. So if you stand out in the open too long, these other teams are going to start to take the fight, even if you are currently busy with the 2 remaining 4 AK players.
Gotta keep in mind, Tornado had themselves a pretty decent day yesterday, and they of course want to get something similar going today in order to claim themselves some more points and a good pile of the money that's up for grabs here in the tournament. 30,000 at that.
7 still in it as well. Besiktas taking their time. They didn't want to try and push on to Winside in the end. They just let that fight go away. And now it's Winside, though, who have a lesser good position in this sense, because they're the ones who have to push into the circle, and Besiktas can just wait for them to move. Ival
is pushed out of the building. You can see it on your minimap. Trying to hold off Northwest, and he does succeed in doing so. He has the M249, so it's a difficult weapon to go up against close up. But of course, M4 in the hand of Northwest. It's not going to be enough. Ival survives with minimum HP, and Nixties is nowhere near to back him up.
How did Ival get away with that one?
Level 3 gear.
That was huge. He managed to stand strong. He's going to heal himself up. Zen will stay in a good position. Nailup's been found by Tornado, but now Nixties is the only one left before AK here.
Yeah, and he's in a position now where all he can do is really just prone by this wall and hope that the fights will escalate elsewhere, and that maybe despite him being actually on the straight up edge of the new circle, will get a hard shift in his direction to some extent. As long as he can stay up on these cliffs where he are now, then he should be all right. He would want Tornado Energy to be forced to cross over.
Yeah.
That'd be the dream scenario for next season.
Wait for them to roll in, and they know they've got Zen above them. No tag team could sit there and take these extra shots. They know what's happening, but it might allow him to have that space where no one sees him any longer as we center up. And this is going to be an interesting one. 20 alive, 7 teams.
I didn't even think about the fact that it was the final circle now. I thought we still had 1 more to go, simply because of there being 20 alive, and it's just chaos. Tamil is able to do the damage needed in order to take down Winside. Good performance there. Besiktas getting back on in it. And now multiple engagements are starting to occur.
4AK will be the next to go down. He isn't able to stay up, but it's not going to be Zen that pick up the kill. So after all that battling and fighting with him, it does get stolen away from him, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. Ivor, though, taking a few shots off towards Tornado. They were trying to fight back. We said about him crossing the road. Well, it's very hard to do so. And guess who's just sneakily waiting? O'Connell down there. He's like, oh, you want to climb over here? No problem.
He
You can
is
go down.
ready for them. The team that's taking the center spot now is going to be Se7en, and they'll be just sitting around and waiting for some of these guys to move in towards them. Besiktas, they're up north, and we still have all of Zoekt Een Naam on the southern side. We talked positively about their Miramar play, and they're doing just what we want them to right now. 7 kills so far, and they're looking to get even more. Ultra gets spotted out. Vasco, full-on committed spray down, and he gets himself 1 kill. Krabik there to steal 1 as well, but only 2 teams all of a sudden left remaining. 3 up for Zoekt Een Naam, but who's going to take this one home?
Se7en certainly have the position, but they don't have the numbers in this. A lot of damage being done by Zen. They're managing to hold on to it. 9 kills already. Krabik and Frank down below. They don't have the high ground to play with here like Zen do, but Zen, they're already splitting up. Ival and T-Bone going around the side here. This could be huge. Is Frank even going to be aware of it? He might hear the footsteps in time, and he does, but instantly he's taken down. And this is Zen large and in charge, trying to get the job done here. Frank's taken out. That's 10 kills now. They're spraying through the smoke, and they know they want to find this final player. He'll eventually go down, and Krabik can't stand strong. He managed to pick up 1 before it does happen, but it's 11 kills and a win for Zen in game 1 on Miramar here.
Impressive way to start off the day. Both for them and for Se7en as well. They played it extremely smart, but got to give it to Se7en. They were able to keep 4 guys up and alive, and they knew in the end, okay, we see 6 guys in total. We're 4 of them. Let's split up 2-2. We have the numbers advantage. We have the high ground. We have all the info that we need to take this engagement, and they're able to pull it off. Extremely well done by them.
Yeah, really, really impressive stuff there towards the end from Zen. And they were under pressure from both sides, right? They dealt with 4AK to start off with.
Yeah.
Tornado were taking pop shots at them as soon as they even like poked out from church at any point. And then Se7en was just waiting for Besiktas that whole time. And then they just kind of, everyone just funneled in as we saw
Exactly.
it. It was just so wild, like you were saying. I expected almost like we needed more game time because there was just so much alive. And that's what happens though when you get a kind of city ending, right? Because it's such an interesting city in that sense. But there's so many places these teams can just hold on, hide onto the spots and say, well, actually, we can actually fit this many in here. But that was such a cluster.
It was crazy, and it came right to the very start of the game. Then the talk gets the readout, gets himself the double there as well. Crazy plays from him. Arguably a bit of a misplay from Riddle, but really, really well done on his part nonetheless. And then it was just rotation kills all over the place. 1 hard shift followed with another in all different directions up until those very last circles in the city. And I've got to give it to, I mean, Zoekt Een Naam, the fact that they went down, even when they had the position, because they could have stayed up and played like we saw Desperados and we saw 4AK do. They could have stayed up on that hillside for longer, but they figured, you know what? We need to go down and take this church position. We've scouted it. It's available. And if we don't go now, someone else is going to go there, and that's going to be them holding us off. So if we don't move now, our time won't be there for it. And, well, I mean, they moved and they got the win.
Yeah, it's all about beating some of the other teams to those positions if you can get there in time. But it's a risk as well because you're not always 100% sure if it's completely empty just yet. But it did work out for Zen in the end as, ooh, there we go. That's the way you do it.
Deny points. Deny them, deny them, deny them.
A bit of parkour attempting, and then you break your legs.
Yeah. His teammate forgot to throw the mattress down there. You know?
No soft sponges for him to hit. Just the floor.
Yeah.
This was really good from Ival. I know you said about the level 3 gear, but I mean, the fact he was even able to win out that duel where he didn't exactly know where the shots are going to come from. Good attempt from O'Connell as well. He wanted to hang in there as long as possible. He really upset Tornado because they just had to go for it, right? The smokes were down. And then he's like, oh, you're coming to my smoke. Hi, guys.
Yeah,
like, I'm here waiting.
I respect the solo sneaky snake that don't want to shoot at anyone, but when he's actually stepping on your hands, then I feel like you might just be forced to take those shots, and he did. And it worked out for them. And then here in the end, great play from the team. 9, make that 11 kills overall for the guys. Krabik managed to get himself 5 of that. Really important and impressive as well. 21 points overall for Zoekt Een Naam. Talked about their, I mean, their abilities on Miramar. They're showing here. They know how to win them. Now they just got to turn things around and get it back down at Wrangle too.
I really like this from 4AK and Tornado with the amount of kills they're able to get here. Just considering their positions they're to play from. Because 4AK, right, they rotated around. They went all the way down from where we saw them start in the north. as the circles popped, they went all the way down south. They took out Desperado that time in that fight, and then they really were just stuck on where they could go, and they had to go to take the challenge with Zen, but still managed to get away with some of it.
It was very, very, very impressive to watch. I mean, it's always chaotic when you get into these city endings. It's really dangerous and really tricky to play around. You can see Paige and Ivel. I mean, Zoekt Een Naam, for the most part at least, were the team to, well, first they were in the high ground up in the hills. They had the overview of the city. They could take those shots. Then they moved one step down, and in the beginning, no one really confronted them because Desperados and 4AK were fighting on the top for a little while. So they got to shoot through the city there without really any danger going their direction. But then when it came to close quarter battles too, boom, they were just there. The fact that they win the game in a cluster like this without losing a single player, that is very, very hard to do. Oh, okay, Krabik did get one to the very, very end. Okay, so, but still, for 99.9% of the game, there were 4 guys alive. That's very hard to do.
And Se7en, they'll continue their way towards Besiktas and hoping to get inside the top 8. It's still a long way to go, sadly, for them. Zen, though, this will help them out and join up in this fight for the contention towards first place. Gamerlegion, even though 16th position, still comfortable there. But any more games where you keep seeing these 14th, 15th, 16th places without points is giving all these other teams the hope and chance that they can overlap you and overtake you.
Also, we got to throw in there that, sure, I mean, you technically just want to get top 12 because that's what gets you to Berlin to play for a chance to get into PL. But it's only top 8 that gets prize of the prize pool.
That's what I'm talking about.
So if you sit 9 through 12, sure, you might go to Berlin, but you ain't going to get no money with you.
I'd like some money to spend in Berlin if I'm going there. Why not?
Yeah,
Party
that's
City,
what I'm saying.
Get going before the games, get yourself ready. Team bonding experiences, you know, all that kind of stuff. Money is important in it as well, not just ensuring that you can get over towards Berlin. But we're going to go to a break, guys, and hopefully when we come back, we'll have more of a normal start to things, and then there won't be so much craziness go on because it has been an interesting day to start off with. But Miramar coming up again very soon.